All right, to watch this video for Monday, geez, was Monday Halloween? Monday, October 31st, yep. Um, let's look at the SPY here first. It's kind of sitting at support. Used to be resistance back here, support now. But again, I like to look at the IWM, which is has broken support and still falling. Let's go back to the SPY and look at it on an intraday. Something about Hillary Clinton spooked the market on Friday afternoon, and it tanked and recovered a little bit, but it's kind of flirting with breaking down to new levels. I've talked in my previous videos about not a lot of stuff following through, to the upside. So again, you got to be careful out there. I'm starting to look a little bit more towards intraday reversals versus breakouts because you have to adapt to whatever the market is giving. So right now, kind of focusing on that. Here is my list going into Monday. GNC, now this is going to sound weird, but I actually love this setup for a long. It is just so beaten up. If you go to the weekly, I'm pretty sure we're sitting at all-time lows. Yep. So a fairly ugly chart, but it's also oversold big time. We could get a nice snapback bounce Monday or sometime this week. So this is a good. Remember, I'm a day trader, so I just look for stuff that I can get in and out of, in the same day. I'm in cash every night. So this is a pretty good opportunity, depending on if we get a proper intraday setup, a pretty good opportunity to make some money. If not Monday, it'll be back on watch. If it keeps selling, it'll be back on watch Tuesday and so on. One of these days, we're going to get a nice bounce out of it. Under Armour, another red day. Just goes back on bounce watch again. UA. TWER, yeah, to zoom in so you can even see this setup. Had a nice 2-day rally. Now it's basically round tripped, which makes me like it less. But it had some decent news back here that caused this spike, so I'm definitely going to watch it for a turn back up. It might just be being brought down with the market, so we'll see. NTNX, not a lot of chart to go on here. Relatively new issue. Looks like it IPO'd and opened at 26.50 on September 30th, making its way all the way to 46.78 in 2 sessions, and it is now to new all-time lows. 5 red days in a row. Sometimes when you do get to finally all-time lows, you can get a nice snapback bounce. So that one goes on bounce watch too. Again, another way to tell the kind of the mood of the market. I went, I don't know, man. I went almost it felt like a month at a time recently, having very few stocks on bounce watch, at least on bounce watch that were down 3, 4, 5 days in a row, and that's one of the things I look for a potential bounce play. And now I'm starting to find all kinds of things down several days in a row. So it's another way to kind of tell the mood of the market. Tesla, TSLA, gapped up on earnings, got slapped back down by the 200-day moving average, and now it's kind of back down to support. This is another one that I think in a very short term now is oversold, and we could get a nice snap back to the upside. I've only traded Tesla a couple times in my life, but I think it's worth watching. I wouldn't mind another red day. I wouldn't mind to see it come down to this 195 area where it's bounced off of. But anyway, we'll keep our eyes on Tesla, Express Scripts, ESRX. Couple red days and then a gap down and a big red day. I'm going to pan way out here. Let me go to the weekly actually. All right, so on the weekly, you can see that the 65, remember support and resistance aren't exact numbers, but they're areas. This 65 number was, this area, I should say, it just hit on a big sell-off. Bounced off at here was kind of resistance back here. So you can see the significance of the 65 area. Let's go back to the daily. And it's in 3 days, it's gotten there from 72. A lot of times you get a snapback from an area like that, especially if it got there in a hurry, which it did. So ESRX goes on bounce watch. LTBR needs to come in a day or two, but keep this one on watch all week. We had it on watch on Friday because on Thursday it had this volume spike. Wayne, one of our moderators in the chat room, also the guy that I do the trading course with, called this when it looked like this. This is the opening 5-minute candle. It's starting to go up basically on a high of day break, and look at that. And a high of day break was 179. In 10 minutes, maybe a little less, it went to 236. You can make your entire day or your entire week on just that 10-minute move right there. So excellent alert by Wayne. I'd like to see us come in a little bit, but I like the way it can move, okay? Whenever I have a stock that can move like that, I want to keep it on watch for several days. CTRV, this one's a little more obscure, but it had a nice breakout here, and it's just kind of flagging. Seems to be holding support around $1.80. In a pretty weak tape on Friday, this thing held up pretty well. I kind of like it over the 2-day high here, over $1.95. You had a spike what, 4 sessions ago that went to 234. This one's worth watching. And then lastly, I have KORS, Michael Kors, purse maker, right? And other things. I don't know what else they make. Anyway, you can kind of picture, and I'll just draw it here, a trend line break. Let's see, I'll use a segment. Right, you can kind of see that trend line break on extra volume on Friday. It's kind of hanging around the whole number 50. Whole numbers can be issues with stocks, you know, where they can kind of hang around and act like a magnet. You also have the 200-day there. And it's divisible by 10, which even makes it a little bit more of a powerful magnet, if that makes any sense. So, but this one has got a pretty handsome daily chart. You can kind of picture a longer term. I could probably extend this thing. That didn't work. I guess it won't let me extend it. Anyway, no, sure won't. I chose the wrong option. Anyway, you can picture that this extended. I don't use this very much. You can tell, right? This extended really just kind of extends the trend line. So it looks like it's beginning maybe a long-term change of pattern, you know, move to the upside. But I'm not a swing trader, so I'm not doing anything with it. We'll see if it gives us a low-risk, long setup on Monday or anytime this week. I think the chart looks pretty bullish, so we'll see. I'm going to leave it at that. We will add potential gap plays on Monday morning. Be careful out there. Again, remember, a lot of pops are getting sold. Again, I'm shifting gears, looking for more intraday reversals versus breakouts. And I generally don't get to take those with the same size that I do breakouts. So I'm kind of, in conjunction with that mindset, lowering my profit expectations and maybe lowering my daily goal for a while. And unless and until maybe when the election's behind us, I think maybe the market can get back to less skittish trading, but we'll see. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.